What's up, party people? This is Jude Snowboarder here, and I've been wanting to do a little bit of content on the idea of, I probably should have thought about the word before I got this video, the volatility of a fair market value of a book. How I believe that has all changed since 2020 when we had the huge spike. If you look at, if you look at all the different graphs on GPA that shows the history of these books, you see this pretty much flat line. Maybe some bigger books, it goes up a little bit. And then right around 2020, it goes up, and then it goes down. That's what you're seeing. So what you're seeing is going back to 2010 to 2018, it was almost stable. There wasn't these widespread changes in fair market values and sales. So if a book sold for $800 one year, if it went up or down 3%, that was about normal. Well, ever since it went up quickly and then it dropped quickly, the question is it going to go back to a baseline steady, or is it going to continue to be volatile? What made it so volatile? Yeah, we understand with the big spike in 2021 and a lot of speculation, but I'm still seeing volatility in these books. I think there's a number of factors that's going to lead to this, which makes me want to talk about how I think the volatility going forward is going to continue. For one thing, there's a lot more auction houses there are today than there was 5 years ago. A lot of new people are jumping on the market. There's a lot more people that are either passing away or retiring and selling their large collections. And I specialize in watching auction houses daily, maybe 20, and it's growing quickly. I'm finding a lot more small mom and pop auction houses all over the country that focus on estate sales. Someone's dad died, and they walk over to an estate sale company and say, "Hey, will you see my comics for me?" Sure. And frankly, they're not getting the most horrible prices either. So, which is surprising, because on some of the smaller auction houses, that you can see the prices are typically. I know which auction houses to go to where the prices are typically much better. So, what's causing this volatility? It can't be ease of information, because we've had GPA for years. Now we do have Go Collect and Cover Price, and they are being coordinated with the CLZ, at least Cover Price is the CLZ app. So people are getting to see those prices quick. I think a lot of people with this volatility are putting a lot of weight in the last sale. And that didn't used to be the case. So if a book's selling, going along at 4,000, 4,500, and then it has a low auction of 3,600, typically that was just a one-off, we used to call it, and it would go back to about 4,500, 4,000 to 4,500. Now, granted, there's going to be small changes because some places charge a buyer's premium, some don't. Some always charge tax. A lot of auction houses don't charge tax. That's a big 6 to 10% swing right there. So you're going to have these little volatile things based on the prices that are not being reported, like tax, like shipping in some of the auction houses. But there's this, when everything went up so quickly, we couldn't rely on a 12-month average. The old days, we used to look at what was the big price guide, the paper book back in the 80s. I can't remember it now. It escapes me, but Overstreet. And so it would go up, and toward the end of the year, you'd wonder whether the prices are still accurate or not. But for the most part, it didn't just blow through the roof, except every now and then there would be one book that just caught fire. But now it seems like every book is going up dramatically compared to a year ago, or going down dramatically. And I don't think it's going to go back to a normal. I think there's so many people that are conditioned now over the last 5 years where they just saw a book drop 20, 30%. Boom. Everybody in our industry is built that we don't want to pay more than the last guy. That's the only way we know we got a good deal. I don't want to pay more than the last guy. So I'll be on an auction house, and the book's cruising along at 5,000, 6,000, maybe let's say closer, 5,800, 6,000, and then boom, a low auction is down to like 5 grand, or maybe even 4,000, 2,000 below what the last 3 sales have been. Everybody has this access to the data, and nobody wants to pay more than the last guy. So the next auction comes up, you see somebody pay $10 below that 4,000, $100 below that 4,000. I'm seeing that all the time. They use that as a benchmark. I don't want to pay more than the last guy. That's the only way I know I have a good deal. And so if everybody's conditioned like that, you're going to have these huge swings because of one auction that went really low and it wasn't marketed very well. It's not on a popular website, and you have more and more auction houses that are just jumping in. They get their fees. They don't care if you're a seller that you get 70% for market value, 50% for market value. They don't care. They want to sell your stuff and make money off of it, and they know a lot of people are doing that. So there's a lot of auction houses, and as auction houses continue to grow, you're going to have more and more really low prices, especially when I'm seeing auctions where I get a steal because they didn't market newsstand when it's newsstand. Yeah, you can see a picture. A lot of these auction houses don't put a picture of the back on it, so you can't see the picture of the back if you wanted to look at condition of a 3.5 or a 2.5. So there's little inherent differences in each auction house, which I've gotten some steals on a book that was marked wrong in the wording. It said second print, but it was actually a first print. The label on CGC even said it was a second print, when I could tell by the cover that's a first print. So it's marketed wrong. The auction house doesn't care if they market it wrong, and you get steals, and then those false numbers get reported. So I see this on auction houses all the time. You can get a steal because of poor marketing. They don't mark the significance of that book. Maybe they forget something like a newsstand or a 35-cent variant or an error book. There's error books that aren't marked that way on an auction house and on the CGC label. So it seems to me that when you have this kind of volatility with all these auction houses, that's where you're getting the low prices. If you see a book like this and it sells up here on eBay, buy it now, and then boom, auction house, eBay, buy it now, Heritage, maybe, boom, auction house. I know a Heritage is an auction house, but they get real high prices too. So, and there's reasons they get high prices. People don't understand that. A lot of people overseas can buy their books and store it with Heritage, same with some other auction houses. They don't have to pay the import duties, the custom fees. They can just store it there and then wait for it to go up and then sell it. And it's a great way to launder money from people that are overseas. So there's some of these bigger auction houses where you can leave the books in the States, you own them, but they just store it for you for free, and then you can turn around and sell it there, and then you make your money, and the payout just goes back and forth. So there's reasons people overseas pay more on a Heritage auction site. They may not have to pay tax overseas, whereas we buy in Heritage might have to pay tax. So that's another thing. I have to pay tax on all Heritage books. Most auction houses, I don't have to pay tax in my state. So going back to this volatility, you see that, buy it now, auction price, buy it now, auction price, buy it now, auction price. And the next buyer was like, whoa, it's going up, and so he wants to get it at the max, or if it's sold at a low auction house, the next buyer wants to buy it less. And so you have all these people conditioned to try to pay less than the last guy, or if they think, it's going through the roof, I got to pay more. Because we're sheep in that regards, we're following this trend. We're going to pay more than we should on some books. We're going to pay less than we should on some books. And this volatility is going to continue to change. And I don't think fair market values need to differ by auctions versus buy it now. But if you looked on Go Collect, they show you the picture of where it was bought from. What I like about GPA is they just added that functionality. When you see a book for sale, it'll show you right on the screen instead of where you have to click it and go look. It'll say, Collector's Comics. It'll say Heritage. It'll say eBay and whatever. It'll show where it's being purchased, and the auction houses that give it better prices. Like, I want to go check that 9.8 out. Anyways, tell me what you think. It seems that this volatility we have a lot of buyers that are willing to pay a lot more than what they're buying books for. They only want to pay less than the last guy to get a deal. But I know personal hand experience from buyers that are willing to pay $20,000 to $30,000 more for a book because the last sale on GPA had a price that made them think, okay, it's worth that price, whereas versus what it actually sold for. So a lot of these auctions where someone's getting it, they might have been willing to pay twice as much. I've been in that case where I bought one books. I was willing to pay twice as much for that. That's going to account for that volatility as well. We're many of us that are buying these big books, 25 to 30,000. Is it really that different? If you think the book's worth 40,000, you're looking at a 10%, profit versus a $15,000 profit. This is what's going to come into play for people buying big books and these swings, and it happens on the smaller books too. It's my thought, my insight. Let me know what you think, but I think this volatility is going to continue to go. I think we're going to see it shoot back up. I think we're seeing a bottom. Some people agree, some people don't agree. I'm seeing all these prices. I watch auctions daily. That's all I'm doing is just watching auctions. And I'm not getting the steals I used to get over the last 9 months, where I'm paying 50%. Or I think we're going to see it shoot up because of this type of volatility that's built into it. People are going to get scared. Hey, it's going to go up again because they went through 5 years ago and it went up quickly. So anyways, let me know what your thoughts on the volatility of the future of the comic book market is. Happy hunting, guys.